What is up, everybody? Good evening from Green Bay, Wisconsin. Welcome to the Cheese Talk podcast. I'm your host, Brian, and today I'm joined by return guest, Mr. Todd Friedel, fellow Packer fanatic. How's it going, Todd?
Going great. Enjoying the weekend of stress-free football after the Packers won on Thursday. So it's always a good time.
For sure. Let's about that game on Thursday. What are your thoughts on the performance of the Packers?
I love Matt LaFleur when he is all gas, no brakes, right? Yeah. But to think that Matt LaFleur was like, I don't know, on X, looking at all the comments about how he should be fired because he's not all gas, no brakes. We can't take we cannot take credit for the fact that that's the way that game played out. I think he's a smart enough coach that there's a different way to win. I think against Minnesota the week before, they were just like, hey, let's just grind it out and get out of here without any injuries if we can. And then with Detroit, he wanted to go in and out Dan Campbell. So I think that worked out really, really well for him.
It's funny you mentioned Dan Campbell outdoing Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell outdid himself on that 4th and 3. Yes. That was like poetry. You know what I'm saying? It was. You know, he's been known for taking his daring, 4th down, whatever. But 2 plays later, touchdown to Watson. I mean, that changed everything. Yeah. I mean, it's just I don't get it. I guess Dan Campbell, he's gonna let them worry about their coach, and we're used to going for it on 4th down and getting first downs lately. So I don't know. What do you think?
I would much rather be complaining about a coach who was less aggressive than on one that was more aggressive, right? Because I don't think Dan Campbell can bring it back some, right? I think he's got to continue to press forward and lean into who he is. And I think that LaFleur can, accelerate when needed and then back off when needed as well. And I think that gives us more flexibility as a team and a better understanding maybe of approaching each game differently per the opponent.
Right. Got a comment here from True North Packers fan that Bull Melton was the second leading rusher or second leading running back in that game. Yeah, I mean, he's got the speed. It's about the time they threw him in the offense a little bit. It's whatever LaFleur had, whatever the game plan he had from start to finish was just, I thought, was probably his best called game all year.
I agree. I absolutely agree. And I think, too, that moving forward now you've put things on tape that other teams have to account for. And breaking tendencies, I think, is the thing that pushes teams past other good teams this time of year, right? Like if you look at just the Cleveland game that just happened this afternoon, right? With Shedeur Sanders as okay, I'm sorry, I'm laughing. With Shedeur Sanders as a quarterback, they ran the ball like 7-8 straight times, and then they did a play action and got a touchdown, right? And the dude was wide open. Wide open, and it's just like for whatever reason, they just thought they were going to run the ball again. So they just had to break the tendencies. They had to do the things that the defense was not expecting at the time, and that allowed a quarterback who's starting his second game of his NFL career to have a really good looking touchdown pass.
Yeah. A controversial touchdown in Thursday's game was Dontavian Wicks in the corner of the end zone. It was such a bang play. I mean, from what I saw, he had possession when his first foot hit, then his second foot hit. I mean, you've seen that call a touchdown so many times in the NFL, and you've also seen it called not a touchdown. What do you think?
I thought it was a touchdown immediately. Of course, I'm biased looking through, green and gold glasses, but yeah, I mean, when the ball hit his hands, his foot was on the ground. I mean, so there's one, and there's the second one. And the third one that went out of bounds, I mean, he already had 2 feet in, so I didn't think it was a controversial call.
Yeah, isn't it funny to see the opposing fans like complain about the referees, saying it's so funny, how they always say the referees are in the Packers' favor, and you see that picture going around of a referee doing the Lambeau leap, and it's pretty funny to see it roles reversed.
Well, I mean, if you're going to do that, then let's talk about the fact that Detroit gets a mini bye every year. I mean, not this year because they have to play again on Thursday night, but almost every year Detroit gets a mini bye because they always play on Thanksgiving. Like they, for the last 50 years or however long they've been having the Thanksgiving game, right? So, I mean, it's tradition. I understand, but that also gives them an advantage the following week because they've always had that. Now, historically, it hasn't been an advantage because they haven't done anything with it. But at the same time, they still always get 10 days between Thanksgiving and the following Sunday that they play. And so, I mean, if you're going to be a whiny Lions fan and finally be able to take the bag off your head and actually show your face amongst the NFC North, well then hey, let's talk about actually who's had the advantage for 1 week out of the season for the last 50 years.
And then what's also funny is when they bring up the injuries, because look at the guys we have out.
Oh my gosh.
And then, so the injury part is so funny. What was it last year? The Lions were the number 1 seed, right, in the NFC, and they lost whatever to the Niners. Oh, look at we had these many guys out in injury. I mean, you look at back into. I mean, I'll bring up 2010 because it's relevant. The injury list. 2010, we had how many guys out, and we found a way to win, right?
Absolutely.
And we were a wild card team, and we ran through the playoffs and won it all. So don't use your excuse, and then we say, well, this is what we had in 2010, and say, well, that was 15 years ago. But I'm just validating that injury report's an injury report. It is what it is,
Yeah. And I mean, I love the meme of the Lion King where Simba's looking off to the dark shadows and asks his dad what's out there. And his dad says, that's the Super Bowl. No Lion's ever been there. So, yeah,
right.
My favorites.
Yeah. Another interesting point here by True North, like, what is a holding call nowadays? You know what I'm saying? It's Parsons is getting mauled out there, and he's still found a way to make an impact.
I liken Micah Parsons to Giannis, right? Like Giannis can't get a call, Parsons cannot get a call, right? Like the referees and the umpires have gotten together and have decided that Giannis doesn't deserve a foul because he's so darn good and so darn strong. And just like the NFL referees have gotten together and decided that Micah Parsons doesn't get a holding call because he's so darn fast, so darn strong that, what's holding for someone else is not holding for him because he's just too good, right? So, I mean, you're triple teaming the guy. He's still getting through and wrecking bodies and knocking people over. So, yeah, I think Parsons is the Giannis to the NFL, to the NBA. So,
that was classic against the Vikings when he took the 3 linemen bowling. He knocked the one over on his back. That was
there was a couple of first-round draft picks in there, wasn't there? That he knocked over. Yeah.
That was crazy. I think definitely glad we made the trade for Parsons.
Oh my gosh.
It'd be nice if when he's taking on those triple teams, it'd be nice if Rashawn Gary would join the party and go after the quarterback, or
Yeah, I think that's coming. I think it's going to have to come. I think with LVN being back, hopefully this week against the Bears. I mean, you got the two Georgia kids that are going to have to step up. I mean, you're talking about, Nazir Stackhouse and Brinson. Like, they're going to have to bring it around along with Colby Wooden and Brooks. I mean, yeah, like everybody's got to step up now. It's just a matter of being able to stop that run game with Chicago. That's the thing that we've got to do. And then a couple weeks later, we've got Lamar Jackson. You're going to have to stop that, that quarterback from running too. And I haven't watched Denver enough to know what Denver is, but they've got a winning record. And
yeah, they're decent, but they've had a couple bad games. But every team does, not every team's perfect. So, you mentioned people that stepped up. I think I mentioned in my last podcast that we had to put a spy on Jahmyr Gibbs. I think Adrian Cooper did a pretty good job mirroring him on the run plays. Side-to-side speed, I think he held him up pretty good considering the week before Gibbs just annihilated whoever they played. You know what I'm saying?
The Giants, yeah. They did, and I think getting Quay Walker back will help, but I think we're going to need a healthy dose of Hopper too. Like, Hopper's been a thumper, and he's played really well according to all the PFF grades and all that stuff, and I think that if we can utilize him to stop the run game, and then, like I was saying earlier, like, got to break the tendencies of Chicago. They just want to run the ball and then throw it to short passes so that nothing has to go further than 12 yards. Because if Caleb Williams has to throw it further than 12 yards, it's, a crapshoot at that point.
Yeah, and you mentioned Hopper too. I've been wondering why he hasn't seen more playing time. I remember I was at the Baltimore Ravens preseason game last year in Green Bay, and he had an amazing game. I mean, granted, it was only preseason, but still, he's showing flashes that he can be productive, whether it's against first string, second string, third string,
I wonder if that is more like Cooper from last year. Remember how everybody through the first 10 games of the season was like, Cooper needs to be out there more, Cooper needs to be out there more. And maybe Hopper is this year's version of that, where he's going to finally start replacing maybe Isaiah McDuffie a little bit more. But yeah, I think he's a good player. I think that when he's on the field, he's always around the ball.
Yeah, one guy that doesn't get talked about enough is, some people do, some people don't, but Dontavian Wicks. What a game he had, huh?
Gosh.
People
for this forever. There's people on X that love him so much and have staked a claim, like their priors on him is that he's going to be Adams. He's going to be Devontae Adams. And he had one game this year where he looked pretty much like Devontae Adams, but I don't know. I don't know if that's enough for him to be on the team next year,
Well, you got to look at it right now. We got Dobbs, Watson, Wicks, Reed. When Reed comes back, probably within the next 2 weeks. Can you imagine how open some receivers are going to be on that field when they're all healthy?
But who are you going to pay? Who are you going to pay next year? So Watson's locked in for next year because they gave him that extension for 1 year. And then Dobbs and Wicks are up for contracts, right? And then you're left with Golden. You're left with Golden, Williams, and Reed, I think.
Yeah, I would. They've, from the sounds of it, they've been working on an extension with Dobbs for a while. They've been talking back and forth. I would probably go with Dobbs. Wouldn't you? His size, Dobbs, and Wicks is going to probably want too much money. And then you got to think you have Dobbs, Watson, Reed, Golden.
Yeah, and I think too. I think I'd go with Dobbs too. because I think you're right. I think Wicks could be a strong 1B for another team that doesn't have as much depth at wide receiver. And I think he's going to get that kind of 1B money. So, yeah, I don't think you can't pay everybody, right? I
Right.
mean, they can't pay everybody.
I mean, yeah, I got on Instagram, I got a person commenting Parson spots. He says, we need a star receiver. We don't really have one. I disagree with that. I think we need to have multiple receivers that all get the job done. You know what I mean? We don't need to have that one star receiver making a ton of money that's going to handicap the rest of our payroll to get receivers. You know what I mean?
So you pay Micah Parsons, you pay Jordan Love, and then you've got 5 guys and a couple tight ends, right? And then that's the tendency breaker that we were talking about earlier, like the flexibility that you get when you have, say, a team that wants to play man to man like Detroit did, and you can send Watson down the field and just take the top off. And then you want to have a guy like maybe Jaden Reed when somebody's playing too high that can cut across the middle and do those horizontal routes that gets open. And then you want a Tucker Kraft who can, go 6 yards out, catch the ball, and get 15 yards of yak after that. So, yeah, I mean, it's those you want to have the flexibility to beat a variety of teams' defenses throughout the year. And when you're locked in on one receiver who does things one way, then if that person gets taken away, then what do you do?
True North has a solution, Todd. You ready for it?
Go
Based
ahead.
on today's performance, Justin Jefferson might be available. Could you imagine that? Jefferson
No,
comes to the Packers.
no. But would you want to deal with that? Would you want an AJ Brown? Would you want a Justin Jefferson? Would you want somebody sitting on the sidelines with a pouty face because they weren't getting enough targets?
No, I'm happy with who we have. I think
Me too.
Dobbs. I think Dobbs is happy in the situation that he's in. Like I can honestly see Dobbs, Watson, Reed, Golden, Williams. It's just too bad Wicks wasn't playing like this before the trade deadline. Could have got some draft capital for him,
Yeah.
But I've been saying too, like in past episodes, I've been saying the receivers that we have are they're good, and they all have their own role. And I said, too bad we couldn't before the contract's up, trade him for receiving or trade him for draft capital, you know. But I don't see Wick staying. I don't. He might. I don't know, but I don't see him staying.
I mean, if he stayed for the right price, I mean, it depends. Maybe it depends on how far the Packers go this year. Like if they go and win the Super Bowl, I mean,
Yeah,
what do you? Okay,
money.
but if they go and win the Super Bowl, if you're the third or fourth receiver on a Super Bowl winning team, I mean, do you turn that into who's the receiver that left Kansas City and went to Miami and didn't do all that? And
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill, right? Like, do you turn that into that, or do you stay and enjoy being a part of something special like going to the Super Bowl with the Packers?
Well, Alan Lazard. Wicks reminds me of Alan Lazard. You know what I mean? He's going to go to some other team and disappear. And I mean, I hope he doesn't. But I mean, you look at these receivers in the past who think they're better than what they truly are. I mean, they got to think of who they have throwing the ball to them. I mean, you had Greg Jennings running his mouth about number 12, and then he goes to the Vikings, he goes to the Dolphins, and he pretty much disappears from any major stat in the NFL. I mean, it's just I don't know. I like I said, Wicks reminds me of Alan Lazard. I just see the Packers just working with what they got and making them successful. I think as long as you have Jordan Love as a quarterback, you're going to have successful receivers. And
Yeah.
Parsons Posse also brings up a good point is we wouldn't be having this combo if Kraft was healthy. That's true. If Tucker Kraft, I almost said Robert Kraft. If Tucker Kraft was healthy, yeah, I mean, some receivers might have fewer receptions, but we got to deal with the fact that we don't have Kraft and we're having success with our receivers. So
And Kraft is not a replaceable person, right? Or he's not a replaceable player. Like Luke Musgrave cannot be used as a Tucker Kraft, right? Wilds and whoever else they have playing tight end cannot be used as a Tucker Kraft, which is why they've gone to 6 offensive linemen a couple times, right? So Kennard
yeah,
has to come in there and block because none of the tight ends can block as good as Tucker Kraft blocked, right? So, yeah.
True North Packers fan, time to invest in Anthony Belton jersey stocks. Hey, might have a good point there. You never know. No, and I mean, you know what's crazy is two people that I think of right away. Obviously I said one with Wicks and Lazard, and then Tucker Kraft and Robert Tanyan both had the same numbers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
13 and 85. And Tanyan was doing amazing, and then he had that injury, and he came back not like his old self. But I mean, I hope Tucker Kraft comes back. To his former self when he comes back, but those injuries can be tough to come back from.
Yeah. Yeah. And but Tucker Kraft is such a legacy already, just from the unique perspective of where he came from with South Dakota, playing, 9-man football or whatever the heck he played, and doing all that, and then making it to the NFL. And so, if he ends up having a very short career, I think it would be a very much a people would still fondly remember him because of his story, right? His story is really a good story.
Absolutely, the picture of him in camouflage in the tailgate of a truck with the
Bush
smoke
Light.
with a bush light and a cigarette. That's classic Wisconsin for you right there.
There you go.
Nothing screams Wisconsin like that. But no, I think what the Packers are doing is obviously working. Um, you know, uh, it just goal knowledge just got to be make the playoffs. It shouldn't matter what seed you are, just get in there. You know, so it,
I don't think it matters what seed you are
no,
for the team, but I just want to shut the Bears up. I mean, I just want to shut the Bears fans up, and I'm tired of the all of the priors, right? So everybody in Jordan Love's first 8 games had this conclusion of what type of quarterback he's going to be. And they planted their flag on who he was going to be after 8 games. And no matter how he plays the following 2.5 years, nothing can break that. And the same has hold true for Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams' first 8 games, people planted their flag and they said that he was going to be this great quarterback. And regardless of whatever any of the statistics say, and whatever your eyeballs tell you, like they still think that Caleb Williams is a better quarterback than Jordan Love. And I'm like, on what planet are you? Like, where are you watching this game from? Because I I don't see it. I've never seen it, and I don't think that I don't even think that we should be having these conversations of comparing the two because I don't think it's even a legitimate comparison.
yeah, I think you got to send McKinney off the edge like we did in Detroit, and just, I mean, a football tackle, of course, but get after him, get him rattled right away. You know, it's I I don't know. Maybe we can borrow Brian Branch for a game against the Bears.
Oh
He can
my
go out
god!
there and lay out Caleb Williams.
When
Since I
he
got so much pushback from my my post on
That post is
social.
legit. Why are you getting pushback from that?
Oh,
What
I
were
got
people saying?
over like 60,000 views on Instagram, and people coming after me, telling me I don't know football because whatever. And I mean, when you launch yourself head first at somebody, I don't care. It's either I mean, whatever. Oh,
He's launching himself knee high.
if Jacobs wouldn't have shifted to the side, it would have hit him right in the thighs, and I mean, okay, so, I mean, there's a reason why they banned you from hitting quarterback below the knees. Why shouldn't it be somewhat, of a illegal hit if you go for anybody below the knees?
It's the launching part that upsets me, right? Like that to me makes it premeditated, right? When
Yeah,
you're leaving the ground and you're eyeballing somebody's knee, like that makes it premeditated. It's one thing if you roll up on somebody, it's another thing if you're taking on a block and you shift to the left and you're grabbing somebody's thigh and their knee or whatever. But like when you've got a clear shot at somebody and you're leaving the ground, that to me makes it premeditated, and that to me makes it um less of an accident. It's not an accident that those things happen.
it's not. And even go back to last year. Oh, you're going back to last year? Yeah, I am, because you want to know, he launched and he went helmet to helmet. In college, you get ejected for that. So I mean, if they do it in college, you should do it in the NFL. I mean, it's just. I mean, you got stories of players that are out there, CTE and at 40 years old. I mean, it's I don't know. I'll never have respect for Brian Branch. You know, he goes around, him and Kirby Joseph. He went for Tucker Craft's knees last year. Then
Yeah.
he ripped his helmet off in the first game this year and threw it. It's I and why do you have your mouth guard in your helmet? That looks stupid. You know,
That's a dumb look. That's a dumb look.
but yeah, I don't know. I just that and I go back to that's all how they're coached. That's how Dan Campbell is. People can deny it, but it's true. If he didn't coach him that way, he'd be out there. Whatever. That's Detroit's issue, and they can deal with the fines and the ejections and you know.
But
But
I think that's the thing that you were talking about before we got started. Like the NFC North, like if you look at the coaches that are there right now, like it's a pretty strong group, and I don't see any of them moving on. Right? Like I don't see anybody. I think for the next 3 or 4 years, the coaches that we have in the NFC North are going to be the coaches that we have. And I think that then that goes back to those tendencies that we talked about, right? Like who Dan Campbell is and who Ben Johnson is. And, you've got who the Vikings are with or without a quarterback, right? Like, I mean, they let two other quarterbacks leave their building who are playing great right now for other teams. And, yeah, they just, I don't know. The coaching in the NFC North is pretty, I think, pretty locked in for the next 5 years.
yeah, I just hope. I mean, this is like the most aggressive I've seen LaFleur call a game in a while, and I was never on the he should be fired, but it's like he should. I know he's a good play caller, and I've said before on previous episodes that he like we hate him when we play bad because he's calling the plays, and we love him when they look good like they did Thursday because he's calling the plays. It's just we ride and die with LaFleur's play calling sometimes, and you just gotta go with it because I mean what he can call, what he can do with his offense. I just think sometimes that we get lost in the fact that you know we let
Well,
our emotions get the best of us.
here's what I would like to know, because I don't know if I've ever heard anybody discuss this or not, but I know special teams has issues and will always have issues for as long as I live because they've had issues since Desmond Howard left. So, but that being said, like, what's the assistant head coach do? Like, what's he doing out there if he's not helping LaFleur manage the game? Because if LaFleur could just concentrate on play calling and didn't have to worry about, do I challenge that call? What's the down and distance versus what we've got left on the clock? What do we like? How is that interaction? What is that interaction that takes place? Because to me, an assistant head coach should be the one that's helping you manage those game decisions that are immediately going on, right?
It's a
And
good question. I haven't been a fan of him for a while, so
what what are we? He's the highest paid special teams coach in the NFL, and we have crappy special teams. I mean, our punter's good. Our kicker was good up until 6 games ago. And we found a great substitute teacher to kick. But I mean, it's just, I don't know. It drives me crazy that guy has that Rich Bisaccia has a job that I can't
yeah,
figure out what his job is. Right? Like, it drives me crazy.
yeah. It's like you got to think about what does he do, and you think about the couple of blocked field goals, extra points cost us how many games? The Browns, the
Yeah,
Cowboys. It's
all three of our all losses and all ties. Yeah, it came down to kicking. It's just insane. But here's if the Bears get a new stadium and it's indoors, like, how much do you think that changes that the Packers are the only outdoor venue in the NFC North? Like, does that change things in our mindset as far as like how physical the Packers are? Because
no,
they're
I don't think so. Because you look at it this way, Todd. Packers, they play good on turf. You know, look at what they did in Dallas. I mean, if they're on their A game in an indoor stadium, they're going to be running. Look what they did against Detroit. You know, I mean, if anything, it'll make us better. But
but then
look how bad Soldier Field was. Look how bad their turf was a couple years ago. You know,
yeah. But if then they have to come to Lambeau and they have to play outside. So if we can be a good turf team and be a good outdoor team, I think that gives us an advantage over, you know, the other teams because they don't have to play outdoors.
yeah. I mean, Packers. You know, obviously, we know players in college, they come from all over the U.S. and they've played outdoors and they played in snow, they played in rain. I mean, just how well you have your team prepared for it. You know, it's I don't think an indoor game against the Bears is going to hurt us. I'll never see Lambeau in our lifetime be covered. It's always going to be in the elements. That's just what Green Bay Packer football is. You know, I don't know. I think the Packers are faster in turf. And they seem pretty physical on defense this last week too. So
Do you think that was a problem with the early Favre Packers? That's why we couldn't get past Dallas because we were built a certain way to play outdoors, and then we would come to Dallas and just not be able to win in the playoffs.
that's a good question. I remember being young and hating the Cowboys for the simple fact that we always had to go down there, always, whether it was in the playoffs or obviously that's because of seeding, but even just the schedule when it came out, you know, regular season game in Dallas. Why? I just think, I mean, Dallas. I mean, they had a good team. I mean, look at all the guys they had on Dallas: Aikman and Harper and Urban and Smith and Leon. I mean, they had a hell of a team back in the '90s, and they had a good coach too. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
was Jimmy Johnson better than Mike Holmgren? I mean, he might have been. You know, but I mean, it's just how you prepare your team, and you know, it's I don't know. I don't think the venue had an issue with how we played. I think it was just coaching and how you prepare your team. In all honesty,
Yeah.
what do you think?
Probably make too I probably make too much of that in my head, right? Like, because when I was growing up, the Vikings played outside, Detroit played outside, Chicago played out. Everybody played outside, and then things started going indoors, and it was always the chatter. It was always the thing that the talking heads talked about. So it's probably too much of a. It's probably plays too big a role in my head because I'm old. But like you were saying, like college players now play on all different types of venues in all different types of weather, indoors, outdoors, on turf, outside on turf, which never used to be a thing, right? Like every outdoor stadium used to have grass, but now outdoor stadiums have turf too, you know. By the way, the New York Giants, oh my gosh, like all the players complaining about playing in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Holy crap.
Yeah.
That was pretty amazing.
Ask Aaron's Achilles, you know.
Yeah.
um, yeah, no, I just think it's all when it comes down to it, it's how you prepare your team. You see videos of teams that have freaking water hoses out spraying the hell out of the ground on a football and having the players go for a fumble. Now the Packers have I almost said the Don McLean Center. The Don McLean Center was the indoor arena at UW Madison. I remember that from when I was a kid growing up in Madison. You have the Don Hudson Center in Green Bay, right across from Lambeau. So hell, they could practice indoors all year round if they wanted to. You know what I mean? So I think they only practice indoors when they absolutely have to, like when they got prepared for certain situations. But I think those players have been around long enough they can adapt to, you get to the game and you do a walkthrough on the field and you get used to what you can and can't do. And I just think it all goes back to how your coaches prepare you for the game. I mean, you could you could you know you could have an offense that the defense knows what play you're running every single time. But if you go out there on offense and you execute the play the way it's supposed to be done, it can't be stopped. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's just
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it goes back to coaching and how the players adapt to and take instruction. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Jordan Love so far this year? He's had some ups and downs. Do you think he's trending upward now?
I've never doubted in him. I mean, I've always thought he was trending upward uh, once halfway through his first year, right? I think the first 8 games of Jordan Love was the up and down roller coaster. And I think ever since then, he's always been trending up. Now, he's not been perfect. It hasn't been a perfect trajectory. But I always think that a bad game doesn't set him back as far as people want to put it as far as people want to put it in their minds. I mean, he's only had 3 interceptions this year. Like he doesn't put the ball in harm's way, you
Yeah,
know. But because of those first 8 games of his career, everybody thinks that he's just chucking it up there 50-50 balls, and he's not. I mean, does he? Yes, he does. And is he more willing to put the ball in harm's way than Aaron Rodgers was? Yeah, he is. But um, I like that. I like his um, I like his mindset that he's going to go for it and let his guys try to make a play versus I want my stats to be good. I don't want my passer rating to go below a certain percentage, so I'm going to just chuck it out of bounds, right?
right.
Or take a sack.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know. I like him. I think he's a good mix of Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. I really do. And I think he's probably more Favre than Rodgers. And I think that LaFleur helps with his play calling, put kind of a cap on that. Um, but yeah, I love Jordan Love. I'm happy he's our quarterback, and I cringe every time somebody compares Caleb Williams to him because it just drives me crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's you think of the games against Dallas and Cleveland. I mean, he had them in winning drive, and then it just he didn't give up the blocked field goals. He didn't, you know what I mean? I think he's played good so far this year. So I mean, I think he's on his way up.
Yeah. And if the Packers only had one loss, what would everybody be saying about Jordan Love? He'd be in MVP conversation, right? And like you said, it's those special teams plays that have us with the record that we have. It's not Jordan Love's play, So yeah,
Yeah, the defense gave up the 40 points against the Cowboys, not Jordan Love. He put up 40 points, so it's kind of yeah. What are your thoughts going against Chicago next weekend?
I'm looking forward to X this week and looking at all of the fan chatter back and forth. I think the Packers have a great opportunity to little brother Chicago, like not so quick here. Like this isn't just yours for the taking. Maybe slap that hand a little bit when they're going for the second pork chop and it's yours. You're older. I don't know. I just I think there might be a little bit of coaching. There might be a little bit of coach uh, rivalry going back and forth there because of what Ben Johnson said when he took over in Chicago and what he said about LaFleur at the beginning of the year, and how much he enjoyed beating him. So I hope LaFleur brings that same energy he had for Dan Campbell to Ben Johnson.
Right. Yeah, I think we're going to be surprised on our game next week, and hopefully it's a good surprise. We're going to wrap it up with your final thoughts against the Bears on Sunday.
Um, I'm gonna go with the defense having two takeaways, an interception and a strip sack fumble. Strip sack fumble caused by, let's go with Rashawn Gary, because Micah Parsons gets double teamed. So strip sack fumble, INT. We're going Packers, say 26, Bears 13.
You're not going to put the Packers at the 27-point mark?
No, I almost did, but I held back and I just went with the 26. I didn't want to jinx myself.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the Packers are going to show us a different team than we've seen all year. I think they're going to come out on top. They're going to put little brother to bed, hopefully, and they're going to come and get Caleb all flustered and make him make mistakes. And I think we're going to score probably in the 20s. I'm going to go with 28-17 Packers.
I just want to see all the Chicago Bear fans on Twitter just have to
Meltdown.
be quiet for a month or for a week, and then we play them again. Of course, they'll be chirping the week before we play them in Chicago, but then hopefully after that it's done.
For sure, yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I'm hoping the Packers just come out with just hit him in the mouth right away and don't give up.
Yeah.
Maybe pull a couple of Brian Branches and No, that's a dirty way to play. I shouldn't have said that, but I think it's funny. But no, I see the Packers are getting better as the year goes on. Hopefully they're learning from their mistakes like anybody should, and I think LaFleur is calling a good game. I think he gets competitive depending on who the coach is, and I see them being successful on Sunday. So let's hope for a Packer win. So
I agree, and I think that's really interesting that you brought that up. That LaFleur taking it personal against another coach may be the maybe the secret sauce because he does so good against Kyle Shanahan, right? Like he does really good against really good coaches. And maybe that's something that's not looked at enough about how well the Packers play against coaches who Matt LaFleur maybe gets compared to or always gets put up against as far as like, are they good coaches or not? Because he does good against Andy Reid too, right? Like the
Yeah.
Packers, LaFleur, like I never thought of that before. Good for you.
Yeah. But no, I appreciate it, and yeah, I appreciate you being on tonight. I know we usually go on Saturday, but you had stuff coming up, so I was able to adjust my schedule and get you on tonight. And I
I,
look forward to having you on in the future. Maybe we can talk more Packers and maybe the state of Wisconsin Badger football since their season ended, and we'll wait a couple of weeks to see all the transfer portal news and hopefully by the Bucks getting back Kevin Porter Jr. and Giannis coming back from his injury, they're not gonna go on an 8-game losing streak again. And the Brewers, they've been kind of quiet lately, but obviously the season's over with. But yeah, looking forward to having you on in the future. And yeah, anything you want to say? Where can people find you at?
well, I've started my new. I changed my Twitter name because I could not just. I had so many bots following me, and I tried to like cleanse my timeline, and it just wasn't going well. So, yeah, I just started a new one that remembering Arnie H, which is Arnie Aber. So the first great Packers quarterback from the 1930s. So, yeah, every twice a week I'll post some random thing about Arnie Aber on there, and maybe I don't know, maybe design a children's book to go along with that. I don't know. I think we need to get young Packer fans. I think we need to get the Packer fans younger. So like, I need to like come up with some way of having like a children's book series about all the great Packers from Curly Lambeau through Bart Starr and Ray Nitschke and all that, and have this like series of Packer children's books about all these great Packer players, so that we can start indoctrinating children younger into the green and gold.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, do some mass production on YouTube. Do a big YouTube video and get sued big time for using the likeness of different players, right?
We could just draw them like South Park characters or something
Yeah.
like that.
Just, just pay me in cheese. Pay me in cheese. That's all. Hey,
That would be hilarious.
what you tell me in the messages before we went on about what you're going to change your name to?
Oh yeah, I was trying to come up with something for a new Twitter or a new X account name, right? So I was thinking, Todd, what does Todd rhyme with? And then I was like, well, Todd rhymes with pod. And then I was like, Cheese Talk Todd. Like I need to hit up Brian and ask him if I can be Cheese Talk Todd instead of Cheese Talk Pod. But yeah, I went with Arnie H instead. So,
Yeah,
but
that's funny.
I should have reached out and asked you for that one. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I got a good chuckle out of that one. That was pretty funny. All right, Cheese Talk Todd. Well, it's been a pleasure, and yeah, hopefully the Packers come on top on December 7th against the little brother down south, and hopefully we have something good to talk about after next week's game. And look forward to having you on in the future. And go Pack, go!
Go back, go. Thanks, Brian.
Absolutely, thank you.